Hi class, this is Russ. So I thought I would resume our discussion on Module 3, some of the techniques you may want to employ in your solution to your critical thinking assignment. Uh, you don't have to do it the way that's being presented in this video because some of the techniques I'm using are somewhat advanced and probably out of scope with the work that you're required to do. But there's some cool things that you might be interested in, might be useful in later courses or in some of the work that you do outside of class, outside of school. That is. So one of the things of interest is that when you click on one of these buttons, the Get Date or the Get Time button, you would like for the background color of this content pane right here to change, or the background color of the frame to change. So we can implement that action. Um, Now, I think you only had to. I think if I recall for the critical thinking assignments, you were only required to implement 5 different colors. Well, that's kind of clunky and restrictive. My programming style, if you're not familiar with it, is that I like to keep things wide open, generalized, and and basically find the one solution that answers everything. Uh, uh, and so that is somewhat naive, but um, I don't want to restrict this to 5 colors. I want to restrict this. I want to have no restrictions. I want to use the entire color palette. In other words, I want to use more than 2 million colors. So let me show you a way you can achieve that. So let's say we click on the Get Date button, and here's the callback for it. And one of the things we can do is that we want to change the background color of the frame. So how can we do that? Let me check my notes here. Yeah, here we go. Let's let's define a method that returns a color. Okay, so um, let's say we have this method called public color. Now, color is a valid data type in Java, and let's call it random color. Okay. Now, what do I mean by random color? Well, what I'm going to do is, well, first of all, I should explain to you what the color object is in Java. Uh, so a color object basically is just a combination of integer values of red, green, and blue. So let me say this. Let's say int red equals 0. Okay, and let's go int green equals 0, and then int white check that, blue. So the combinations of these 3 colors get blended together and set the video attributes of, or the background color of whatever container you're attempting to set. Um, so clearly color doesn't appear to be registering. So what can we do here? Is there probably some sort of include file package that we need? So let me hover over it and see if Java has a, yeah. So if we import color from the AWT, this is a very old Java toolkit. I forgot what the W stands for. I'll find it later, but it's not important at this point. So let's import this, okay, and then random color. Okay, so we need a return statement. So in this case, we can return a color object. Return new color red, green, and blue. Okay, so now these values. Okay, so right now red, green, and blue are set to 0. So what does this actually mean? So if you want to know more about what the color palettes are, you can search for it to hop into Google and say RGB decimal color chart. Okay, and so here's the decimal RGB web color chart. You can use it for the Windows applications as well. Even though we're not on the web, it's still valid. Is this useful? It's kind of cluttered, is it? Let me see if I can find another one. So you just hunt around. 500 named colors. RGB colors, color codes chart. How about this one? Let's see what this looks like. So look for a color code chart. Okay, and so yeah, here's like like for instance, this particular color, sky blue, is in hexadecimal is that. So let me select it. So the RGB values for sky blue is 0, 255, 255. Okay, so for 000, I think it's black, right? So all zeros is black. So in this case of our program, we're going to be returning a color, a hardwired color of 0. So what you can do then is, um, what is the name of our panel? Let's see. Our panel is, does it have a name? Let's call it, let's call it content. Let's call it P&L time. Okay, panel time. Okay, and let's see if we can do some stuff here. So now, so when we, like I say, when we click on the Get Date button, we want to set the background color. So we will go panel time dot. Yeah, okay. There should be a set background color. Okay, and then the color we'll retrieve will be that method we just implemented, which is the get color method, right? Random color. Okay, so we'll call this dot ran. Does IntelliSense work? Did I make my method public color? So it should recognize it. Why is it not picking up on it? It's called random color. So this dot random color. Okay, which doesn't take any arguments. Maybe I don't need this. Let's see. Yeah, don't need this. Okay, it's not in the class scope. Oh, it's not in the class. That's right. It's not in the class. Sorry, I should have put it in the class. I thought it was. Evidently not. So it's external to this particular class implementation. Okay. Let's see. Check a couple of things here. Okay. So when we click on the Get Date button, it should paint the color background color of the frame black. That'll be kind of interesting to see what happens. So I'm trying to execute it right now and see what happens. Okay, so does it paint? Yeah, so you see it paints the color black, which is kind of weird, right? Okay, now, obviously that's one color, right? And like I promised you, I want every color. Okay, so how do we generate um, the color palette for the entire suite of available colors? So the range for each color code for red, green, and blue. So the range is from 0 to 255. All right, so what I want to do is I want to generate a random number between 0 and 255 for each of the red, green, and blue. So this will be an introduction into using random numbers, which has huge importance in computer science applications, namely in cryptography and security. But we can use it here as well. So to do that, I'll need to import the random number generator. So in Java, this would be import java.util.random. Okay, so this affords us the ability to generate random numbers. All right, so with that, I need to define the upper and lower limits of my random number. So I want to generate a random number between 0 and 255 inclusive. So the minimum random number will be 0. The maximum random number will be 255. Because, looking at the color palette, okay, you can see as I hover over each of the colors, the the numbers vary between 0 and 255 for each of the red, green, and blue. Okay, so with that in mind, uh, here's how to leverage the random number generator. So the red color will be min. So to generate a random number between 0 and 255, do this. Min plus ran. Well, let's see here. Check that. Um, I need a random object. So before I do that, I need to declare a random object. A random object which will generate the random number. Okay. So we go random ran equals new random. This is the simplest way to generate a random number. Okay. And so now the way the random works is we go red is equal to min plus ran dot next int, okay, and then some number between the range of values. So the range of values is between 0 and 255. So you plug in the range, the interval range for which you want to generate a random number, and then you add that to min, which in this case is 0. So do that for each color. All right, do it for each color. And this will generate a random number within the range, 0 to 255. Okay, and so now with each button click, you should get a different color. And so we want to do the same thing for our time button as well. So when we click on the time button, we want to generate a random color. So here's where's the get time callback? Oh, we don't have a get time callback. So let's go back to our design. And we need a callback for this. Okay, and so here it is. All right. Okay, and so, all right, so now, be interesting to see what happens. All right, so when I click on get date, it changes to blue. So you can see the different colors. So we're going through the entire color palette. So that would be what, 253, what? No, I'm sorry, check that. That would be how many, that's an interesting question like for you to answer. It's a combinatorics problem, right? How many different colors are there? How many different colors? If each component of a color varies between 0 and 255. So how many combinations of colors can you have? So get time changes as well. Okay, so see if you can answer that question. How many color combinations are there? All right. Okay, and so so we solved the problem of generating a different background color based on a button click. So that's it for this particular